forsaken you. You are my own. I brought you out of the nations. O house of Israel, weep for joy. I brought you out of the Israel, we must get ready, 'cause we're leaving Babylon, leaving Babylon.
Of the sins of our forefathers, we must not worship any other, 'cause we're leaving Babylon, leaving Babylon. Because we're leaving Babylon,
Leaving Babylon.
children of Israel, we must get ready, 'cause we're leaving Babylon, leaving Babylon.
For Zion's sake, I will not be silent. For Jerusalem, but I will not be still. For Zion's sake, I will not be silent. For Jerusalem, I will not be still till you shine brighter than the sun, till you rise on the wings of a dove, till you come to the city on the hill, and you say, blessed be the name, till you say, blessed be
Welcome. I'm Dawn.
I'm Eliyahu, and this is Zion Tabernacle of Greater Austin, Texas.
Oh, house of Israel, I brought you out
Are you among the remnant on the narrow road to life?
Do you long for the deeper truth only the remnant grasp?
for joy. I brought
Then Zion is the place for you. Now, here's spiritual food at the right time.
Shabbat Shalom, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 12th episode of Zion Dudes Rising. Tonight, we are discussing trials of the heart, walking in wisdom. So tonight, me and the dudes are going to be looking into Messiah's brother, James. You know, it's kind of interesting because that's a book that I don't see talked about too much, and yet you literally have Yeshua's brother there, right? So I think if there's anyone who would have intaked his message, it's probably the guy who grew up with Messiah, right? So I think that there's a lot that can be learned and gleaned from James because you can certainly see in the way that he writes that he got a lot from his brother and really internalized that into something pretty deeply profound. Some people might not know either that after Yeshua was resurrected and he departed from the earth, James took over as kind of like the steward of the kingdom, you know? He was the leader in standing. And there's more about that on Zion.org if anyone's interested in learning more about James the Just. But I thought it would be really good to look into him and what he has to say and how that's still relevant today for this discussion.
Sounds good to me.
That's awesome. So I guess we'll just jump right into it. Isaac, would you mind reading James 1, verses 1 through 4?
James, a servant of Yahweh and of the Lord Yeshua Messiah, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings, my brothers. Count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing this, that the trying of your faith works patience. But letting patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect and entire, lacking in nothing.
Thank you, Isaac. So just a few things that I noticed right away is, who is he addressing, right? The 12 tribes of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So I just find that really interesting because even at that time, of course, the 10 tribes were scarce.
The 12 tribes, well, the 10 tribes were scattered. It was just really Judah and I think Levi still technically kind of in the land.
Yep.
There might have been, some of the 12 tribes there, but I think if I remember correctly, they were pretty much scattered, the 10 tribes.
A long time at that point.
Yeah.
Hundreds of years.
So,
Yeah.
So that was on his forefront of his mind. So I guess you could say the remnant of that day. So I think that's why this letter is still relevant to us because we're kind of in a similar boat. We're scattered around the world. We believe in the Lord and in Yeshua and all the things that he's doing, and yet we're not in the land like James was. So I think that there are some good things to learn here.
Yeah.
I think so too. I think it's important to see that even in their day, they recognize the real reality of what's going on. And, it's been taught differently, but when you actually look into it, the truth is right there. So, and what a good couple of verses following that too. There's a lot to unpack there.
Definitely.
Wow.
Yeah. Count it all joy when you fall into various trials. That is so contrary, I think, to the natural mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so interesting how much your mindset matters. Really, the difference between a quitter and somebody who finds success is just someone willing to fail enough. It's about the mindset, about when you see something that is worth it and you grab hold of that. There's just some things that are worth that, and if you keep pursuing the kingdom, Yeshua, what you'll find on the other end of that is so much cooler than if you were to turn away when those trials and temptations come into our lives,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you kind of know just from how things are going. I mean, if the enemy wasn't fighting against you, then you're not really doing much to hurt their kingdom. So you know that you're going the right direction when there's pushback from the enemy.
Yeah.
And yet we can't let that discourage us, no matter how small or big the trial may be, because it will continue to help us to grow. It's one of those things that you need to be constantly leaning on Yeshua for, hearing Yahweh's voice and where he's going to lead you next.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Of course, there is a point where some people might not learn from their trials, and that's one thing you don't want to be
True.
into a never-ending circle. Because yes, trials are good,
Good point.
but you need to learn from your failures. If you never learn, then you're just gonna keep doing the exact same thing over and over and over again. And that's, of course, one thing that you got to be just kind of careful about. Is if you are failing at something, to maybe sit back and look back. Okay, what am I doing wrong? So that way you know what you can fix or what needs to be done to get it done. And that little bit of I just wanted to put out there.
It's true.
That's some fabulous advice. I think that's really great. Looking here about patience, I find that very interesting. Sort of the modern terminology that I hear a lot among my generation is people split it up as motivation versus discipline. And I think in a way that's sort of what it's talking about with patience, in the sense that when we have these trials, obviously we are motivated to get past them, to fix them, to remove those from our lives, right? And that's absolutely what we should be doing. But I think what it's kind of saying here is to be measured in how you're doing that, right?
Mhm.
Because the trying of your faith works patience, but let patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect and entire, lacking in nothing. So it's kind of combining everything that you both were talking about in that, sort of reflecting on the situation and comparing that with the Father, with prayer, with the scriptures, and really taking a measured, deliberate step forward.
Yeah, I think patience is another big thing, because it is once again a thing where it's very easy not to be constantly growing in your faith, and that's not really a good thing. Something needs to be working or happening with you, and I think that this is talking about a process that leads to eventually that you becoming an entire thing, being perfect, lacking nothing. And of course, we're never perfect in the sense that we need Yeshua to help us to get there.
We do need him.
We can't do that on our own, but it's just that there is always room to grow, and there is always room to keep changing in your ways and pushing away the flesh man and moving forward in the spirit man in what he's given you. So
yeah, I've found specifically with issues that are repeating, so whether it's the temptation or whether it's like the same sort of trial entering in a believer's life multiple times, that I've seen there might be certain areas in your life where you just keep failing over and over again. And that can be frustrating. It can feel like nothing's really happening. And I think that's part of what it's saying here too, is that that's part of being patient, is that real change is happening. And you have to be patient about that. And you just have to keep moving forward and relying on him, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we can move on now to the next verses. And I will ask you to read these, Judah.
Yes. This is James 1 5-8. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all men liberally, and reproaches not, and it shall be given to him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that wavers is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
This is a really interesting portion to me, especially because life can be pretty uncertain. There's all these factors that can come into our lives, and the way forward is not always clear. So I was thinking about this portion and trying to really understand what it's getting at, and like specifically with that frame in mind, that of not having the way forward yet. So there's a problem. You don't have the solution. There's options, right? And kind of what I was realizing about this with the prayer is that we can be certain that Yahweh is good and that he's watching and that he wants us to succeed. He wants us to overcome whatever trial or issue it is, and that we can rely on that in our prayer, but we can seek him for his solution and trust in that in our prayer. And that's what I was really seeing, that even if we don't have the way forward yet, that we can still have confidence in Yahweh and Messiah, and that's what can carry us through in those times, is having that confidence in him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's very true. And I think that, it's not saying like that you can't have that natural process of trying to figure things out, but just that it's so easy in today's world to just be kind of driven to and fro and not be stable. And you need to find stability in him and what he's saying to you, and center yourself, and find that stable place, I guess. And
doubt is such an interesting thing, because it can really undermine so much if you let it. Because, you can have one thing happen that crashes with your understanding of the world, or even the scriptures. And that can be confusing or difficult. And oftentimes I think it can cause people to forget the good things that have happened, the things that have brought them to that point with God, or in the scriptures, or in their walk of faith, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So this is another area where I think reflection and gratefulness is really helpful, is just looking back at all the ways that he has been there. Because I think that's the core of all doubts, is that God's not there, right? Because if you know that God is there, and if you are doing what you can to walk with him, then what is there to doubt, right?
Right.
So I think that's just important to keep in mind when we're in that place, is to really search out the core, the foundation of our faith.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about verse 7, Isaac? Why is that verse true?
If you don't really have a lot of faith, or you're more doubtful than you probably should be, and let the waves toss and toss you around, and you're not really, in that sense, grounded. You might work for the Lord, you might have done a lot of good things in his name, but you were too tossy-turvy. You know, things that you should have been standing on with Yahweh, you're not.
Mm.
If you know better, that's where I think he kind of draws the line.
Yeah.
You know, if you didn't know any better and you were just doing his will, or at least as best you could his will, and the waves are tossing you around, well, I think God's going to hold you a lot more, there's going to be a lot more lenient on you. But if you know what you're doing, and you still let all the winds toss you around, following what the world wants and all that type of stuff, you probably going to have a little bit, he's going to be a little less forgiving of that.
Mm.
At least that's how I kind of see it.
Yeah. A part of that is the relationship between Yahweh and the person, right? Because it's almost like they're reducing that prayer, that connection, to an insurance policy, because they're wavering in what they're doing and how they feel. So they're not really committed to the relationship to Yahweh. So then, it's kind of just like putting an insurance policy, well, if this works, dear God, blah, 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 instead of truly seeking him.
Well, yeah, I think what you're saying is very true. And it is like, what is your motive or your motivation in coming for him? It's not like, Yahweh, give me a brand new car or something, what is the actual intentions? What is your real heart about? But if you have a need, your car is breaking down and this or that, maybe that's something that he can bring into your life to help you. And so it's just something where it's like, I see a lot of believers, and especially with just sort of like how we have things set up in today's world, where you're just trying to get people into your religion and you're not really actually bringing them to a relationship. There's a lot of people that kind of think this way, that you're saying, where it's just kind of like a little one-sided, a little bit whatever they're wanting, and not so much a real connection or relationship. And if you do have a relationship, and that kind of is where Father comes in here, because you are wanting to learn more, you need more wisdom, and he's absolutely right here. He says that he gives to all men liberally and reproaches not. There is mountains of wisdom waiting for you, and you just need to be open to hear his voice, and he will show it to you. So
yeah, it's really true.
Another thing I was thinking about for verse 7 is, that man is doing what he needs to do to say he did it. And that's where I'm seeing that the Lord doesn't like that. If you're just doing as much as you need to do just to say, oh, I did this.
Yeah.
Instead of, putting your whole heart into it,
Right.
It's a difference between a lazy worker and a good worker. A lazy worker just puts in the bare minimum to say, oh, look, I did the work. As an actual duty at work, a good worker, they'll make sure when that they get done, they hand you the finished product entirely from start to finish.
Yeah.
And if there's something they couldn't do, they make sure they communicate with you, like, oh,
Yeah.
X couldn't get done because Y didn't happen, or like lazy people just give it to you even though Y wasn't done or X wasn't done. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Wow. Yeah. So, in other words, it really wouldn't be helpful for the person if Yahweh did
let them in,
provide what they wanted, because it's just enabling them to continue in what's actually self-destructive behavior, right? So that's kind of interesting. That's a great point, Isaac.
It's true.
All right, well, moving on, we have verses 9 through 12, and I'll read those now. Let the brother of low degree rejoice in that he is exalted, but the rich in that he is made low. Because as the flower of the grass he shall pass away. For the sun is no sooner risen with a burning heat, but it withers the grass, and its flower falls, and the beauty of the appearance of it perishes. so also shall the rich man fade away in his ways. Blessed is the man that endures trial, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to them that love him. So it really is continuing on about your mindset here. And I really find it interesting how important that is in his writings here about trials and walking in wisdom is, your mindset.
Yeah, plays a big
Yeah.
role. I think it's interesting too how the poor must be lifted up and the rich must be brought down, because it's just a part of their mindset of where they are in life. They say it's easier for a camel to pass through a needle's eye than the rich to enter heaven. It's just, I think in a lot of ways, Brother with low degree is closer in mindset to where he needs to be to process the things of the kingdom, to understand them. And yet someone who has had everything in life perfect and things, they have become closer with the natural world and things. And I just think that it is very difficult. And this is even true on levels, because there's a lot of people in America who have it pretty great compared to people in some pretty tough parts of the world. And the believers out there, I mean, some of them are just diamonds in the rough. They are just beautiful examples of his light, and just amazing examples. So
they really understand the relationship aspect because they're living it. So I think that's really true, that it's almost like a barrier. Wealth can be a barrier in some ways. It's kind of interesting.
Another thing is, if right now, compared to someone who's poor and someone who isn't poor, if you both told them right now they have to leave everything behind and go to here, a poor person doesn't have much, in the sense of, they just have what God's given them. So it's a lot easier for them to say, okay, I'm done. We're going to go, Yahweh told us to go here. Let's go there. A rich person, well, they have all those riches. So they have all that, their life has always been a certain way. They've not been used to all that. Now, there are going to be some rich people that we know, because there are some, I think one of the tribes was kind of more like the moneymaker of the, of us. Of course, once we get to Yeshua coming here, that will be kind of not needed. But you know what I'm trying to say, that there might be some. But generally speaking, the rich is a lot harder because they're so used to a certain lifestyle. And when the call comes, they're not going to want to move because they're going to they want to keep all that comfort.
Yeah. Just looking at this again from the perspective that James is Messiah's brother, I just find it really interesting, his perspective as he writes in these verses, because he kind of gives this elaborate picture to sort of humble or put into perspective about the riches of this world, right? So I think that just really shows a perspective that what society has come to value, the idea of the American dream, white picket fence, whatever, is really quite detached from what matters to Yahweh. And because, what he cares about is the heart and who we are, what we do. So I just find that really interesting to kind of read into a little bit in the verses. That's just my interpretation or my thoughts. But
I see that though, yeah.
It's interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Because, it's concluding in this segment here by mentioning that blessed is the man that endures trial, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to them that love him. So that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
Who loves him and who endures and who really walks with the Lord. I think that's really the core of walking in wisdom is, surprise, surprise, Yeshua, Yahweh. seeking after what's important. And what could be more important than a relationship with the Creator and our Savior?
Yeah.
But does that just end with prayer and recognizing who God is? Or is there more to that?
I think there's always
definitely
more. Yeah.
There's definitely more. It's also the walk you have to do.
Mhm.
Just because you go to, mass and give away your sins doesn't mean you're actually saved. It's a walk you got to do every day.
Mm.
It's kind of like an athlete. You're not going to get an athlete running or beating in the Olympics if you don't do the work every day. I can guarantee you that
It's training. Yeah.
those athletes spend every single day. They may take some days off because at least when it comes to this, an athlete, you can't do it every day. But one thing about the Lord is you can always be working, being with Him or doing things with Him in mind, and
It's true.
Interesting thoughts. Okay, well, I think we'll read some more. Isaac, would you read this again?
Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted by God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, nor tempt he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away from his own lust and enticed. And then when lust has conceived, it brings forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, brings forth death.
There's a lot of people who have some sort of vice or desire in their life that they don't have clamped down, but they kind of view it as harmless, and they think, well, it's just a way to vent or whatever it is. But I think it's a pretty stern warning here, verse 15, that it leads to death. Like that is the fruit of these desires that people have, if they chase after them, if they don't take care of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I know one that can kind of be put into perspective is where we live. Sometimes, if we get a nice snowstorm, which we don't really get much in Texas, and the government says, "Oh, stay home because the roads are not safe because no one's planned for it, no one has to drive." But you just have to go get your coffee, or you just have to go get your one, Dunkin' Donut or whatever. And there's so many crashes that happen during that time, when they say don't go out because it's not safe. And that's kind of like something here. Now, mind you, it's a little different, but
it's kind of like a metaphor.
Yeah, it's a metaphor.
And I think that right there is the value of the Torah, because it really lays out so much of these things and where it leads, through people's lives, through the Torah itself. And that can really be a great tool at our disposal to really remind us and show us about where some of these things can lead us. And, why we should avoid them. But just looking at the other topic here, I think it's really cool that God doesn't tempt anybody.
Yeah.
These things enter into our lives, but those are not things of God, right?
Right.
And He can still use the trials, use the experiences around us to help strengthen us, right? But He's not the one that's causing these things to permeate. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Jude?
Well, yeah. I mean, he allows these things to come into our lives, and I think, well, we have our example of the first temptation, and that was in the garden, and who was the father of that was the devil. So, but yeah, I think he does allow these things into our lives. That doesn't mean that he directly does them himself, though. And but more specifically, trials more so than temptations, because those can often just be from ourselves, from our own flesh man, and not so much, some external thing.
Yeah.
The enemy might know our temptations, what things
Try
would
and
get
feed
to
on
us.
it.
Yeah, but that's more so coming from ourselves, and just and I think especially in today's world, we have a lot of young people, and they're really into a lot of this stuff. They're doing drugs, they're smoking or vaping, all these things, along with other things. And I just see this a lot in today's culture, where people are just completely entrenched in this stuff. And
Yeah.
it does not lead to good things in their life. These things are bad for you. You might do things that you wouldn't otherwise do. You're not yourself. And so really it is a polar opposite that we're seeing today than how we should be. And but it's really tricky, because you just never know what things your flesh man will react to. And it could even be things that would tempt you that might seem like a good thing sometimes too.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be necessarily bad either. But, it's just contrary to what God is wanting for you, whatever that is. And it might be more enticing than what his plans are for you or whatever. And you end up ruining your whole life because of that. So,
Yeah.
Once again, a really important word that people might not necessarily talk about, and yet James is really bringing this thing out to for us to see, to watch out for in our lives.
But a temptation that people might not just also think of is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I would say, in the sense of when that golden statue was built that everyone was supposed to worship, it could have been tempting for them just to bow down to it, to please the king.
Mm-hmm.
But where Yahweh said, "Don't follow any other idols, only follow me," they stuck out like a sore thumb. And so that's another thing, that temptation can also be because of the masses of people that make you want to do it. Like
True. Peer pressure or things.
peer pressure. So just because you might not have been originally tempted to do it, like it's evil, you're not going to do it because it's evil. But the peer pressure, because everyone else is doing it, makes you want to do it.
Yeah.
Or, because you want to fit in, or you just have, there's a lot of things to do it. But that's one reason why I just want to point that out, that sometimes following the Lord will make other people's temptation stick out more, which then can lead to some conflict.
Yeah.
But, those temptations happen.
Yeah.
So we need to also be kind of worried that, or be cognizant of that you need to be, that there's a lot of other external things that can be temptation than just physical temptation.
Especially in the modern environment, because basically anything you can think of, there's now a community out there that has normalized that.
Mm-hmm.
So, whereas before, I think in the past, a lot of the times, a lot of different temptations of all kinds, you'd have to seek it out, you'd have to find it. Now, there's just so much everywhere. I mean, let's say, for instance, that you are curious about magic and stuff. I mean, that's everywhere. It's in movies and it's in TVs, even like pop culture stuff, like even like with horoscopes and stuff. It's showed as harmless fun between friends, things like that. But it can really lead to deeper exploration that is not good. So I think now in the modern environment, it's more important than ever to really be intentional about what we are bringing into ourselves and what we are sending back out to those around us. Because the pressure to capitulate is higher than ever. Anyway, I think that's an important part of this as well, is to recognize that it is harder. It is very hard in this generation not to be swept away by a lot of the things, even like you were talking about, Jude. You know, it takes mindfulness, and it is difficult. That really ties in back with, you know, having patience.
It's true.
And refine our faith, that we can really thrive in these trials of the heart. Well, moving on. Judah, would you like to read these verses?
Yep. Verses 16 to 18. Do not err, my beloved brethren. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and comes down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. Of his own will begot he us with the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits of his creatures.
Father definitely gives us a lot of good blessings.
He sure does.
You know, the more we work with him, the more we get. And it's just kind of, you know, he also knows how to give the good gift, like a perfect one. He's not going to give you an okay one. He knows exactly what you need when you need it. And that's just one thing that I've seen, you know, through our lives here, you know, other people's lives, that I've seen that they didn't know they got the gift. Or if they did, they didn't want to really see it that way. But like, it was always, like, generally speaking, when Yahweh gives you something, it's right when you need it, right on time, not too late, not too early. It just depends on when you grab it, though, sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can really see, oh, this is something that God's given this person, but they keep putting it on the back burner because they don't think it's useful or something.
Yeah, James is really tying back in about wavering. You know, he says, do not err. And just to remind us that God is perfect and good, and that we can trust in that. And I think that's really the integral message of enduring faith through trials and temptations. Is, you know, do we believe that? Do we really believe that in our heart?
Yeah, you know, I think he does not, unlike us who can be back and forth, carried by the waves. It says here, there's no variableness, neither shadow of turning. He's very confident in what he's doing, and he's very solid in that, and we can rely and count on that. And he brings us the gifts that we need, you know, in the right time. So
absolutely. And that time may not be when we think it is.
It's true.
You know, it can feel like it's going on for way too long, and then boom, deliverance when the time is right.
It's
and he understands that, you know, the crucial moment.
It's the bigger picture.
So yeah, it's great to remember that too.
One thing that's nice about Yahweh's gifts is that there's no strings attached.
True.
Like, the enemy will give you some, but there's always some string attached.
Yeah.
You know,
It's true.
you're not going to be rich and famous unless you worship me, or, you know, like that type of stuff that the devil likes to do.
Satan, he wants power, he wants control, he wants domination, he wants to pervert what Yahweh has made. All Yahweh wants is to be recognized for his awesome creation. That is like literally the best thing to ever happen, and to have a relationship with each one of us. That is so wild that you have this person who is infinite and perfect in himself, and he went, hey, you know what, I want to make some more folks, and I want to get to know them all. And I care so much about them that when they die, they're not dead, because I'm going to bring them back, because they matter that much to me. I want them to be with me forever. Like, you can't even begin to compare with Satan. You know, he's such a joke compared to God. I mean, seriously, are you kidding me? Oh, yeah. Like, it's just crazy.
The thing that's sad, though, is how many people still follow that joke.
Yeah.
You know, we know how many people are going to be following him at the end, and that's what's kind of more sad.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one reason why we really rejoice over every single one of the remnant. because they're the ones that said, you know what, I don't want that. I want to be with an actual person that actually cares about you as a person.
Yeah.
You know,
That's so true. And I think that's the core of the trials of the heart. It leads down one of two paths. And we get to decide what that is. But unfortunately, even inaction is a choice.
mhm.
So, we have to walk in wisdom about what we're going to decide to be. 19 through 21. Therefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. For the anger of man works not the righteousness of God. Therefore, put away all filthiness and extreme wickedness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls. This sums up perfectly everything we've been talking about. And I think that it's perhaps a set of verses that could be considered by believers regularly, to really think about aligning our lives to this. Kind of like what you were saying, Isaac, which is very sobering, that there are so many who choose the other way, who choose Satan, who choose their flesh.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not an accident. Satan is trying to bring down everyone he can with him.
Yep.
And it's important to stay vigilant and focused on the goodness, the greatness, the righteousness of God.
But it's one thing I'm thinking about, verse 19, where it says, be slow, swift to hear, and slow to speak, and slow to anger. That's something that I see that also a lot of people have. Like, not a lot of people want to hear what you want to say, but they'll speak very fast and get angry about it.
Yeah.
And of course, we need to be kind of careful about that, because like in verse 20, we can, an angry man doesn't do the works of Yahweh. You'll do rash things. Kind of reminds me of Moses. He got mad at the people, and he struck that rock the way Yahweh didn't tell him to do it.
Yeah.
And God still gave him the water, but that's what cost Moses from going into the promised land.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's one thing that even us as believers, we got to be careful about that.
Yeah.
Sometimes sitting back and thinking before you speak will save you a lot more hassle. Being a little slow to anger, because we don't know always the full stories on some things, or so that's just one thing that we need to remember, that if we're just working with him and just being more calm. Now, of course, it's not easy. I'm just going to point that out. We're all humans.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things in this world that are unjustified that the evil ones are doing.
Yeah.
And it is kind of angry inducing.
Definitely.
You see where it's going, but you can't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a really great point, Isaac. I think it is important to distinguish, though, that there is a difference between the anger of man and righteous anger for God. So I think it is okay to be angry about evil things happening, but don't let that control you and tear you down, I guess, is my thoughts about it. Specifically when talking about real evil, because I think that's a little different than, someone put their shoes by mine and now there's mud on my shoes. Like there's a difference in magnitude there.
Yeah.
Okay, but now we come to the final verses of our discussion tonight. Judah, would you like to read these?
Yes. But be you doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. For if any be a hearer of the word, and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a mirror. For he beholds himself, and goes his way, and immediately forgets what manner of man he was. But whoever looks into the perfect law of liberty, and continues in it, He being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed.
So I think this section is really interesting because we have here Messiah's brother, right?
Mhm.
And he is the leader of the assembly in the first century. So he is leading in the stead of Messiah, through Messiah. And what is he saying? He's saying that the Torah, the law, is the perfect law of liberty, of freedom, that it makes people blessed. And he's also saying that we should be doers of the word. So I think that's just really important, if you are a new believer, to just take a step back and look at this for a second, that what he's really emphasizing here about the value of the Torah, because
Yes.
all of us, we've been raised on this, and I've really come to value the impact that it's had on my life. I haven't made some of the same mistakes others have had, and it's not because I'm super religious or that I am better than anybody or anything like that. But, I've had the scriptures to show me that where some doors lead,
Yeah, right.
and I don't want to go down those doors.
Right.
So I think it's so cool that it's called the perfect law of liberty. And one way that I see that tied into the rest of this discussion, so desires, temptations, trials, is those things they almost make us a slave, if we pursue them, because really those things are just, they're almost all of them are cycles, and they just they take control of you. You know what I mean? So I find it really interesting here that it's saying that the Torah is liberty, because it can
Yeah, it
free
is.
you from a lot of that enslavement. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I think it's pretty trendy these days for a lot of believers or Christians to go places, go onto YouTube and just listen to a bunch of fake prophets or whatever. And then they go away and they completely forget all that stuff. And it's just, I just see this a lot where you have believers and they're not actually really living these things. Even now in the case of real scripture, and not this other fake stuff, but just that there's a lot of believers and they're not really actually doing any of these things.
Yeah.
And it's not really going to change or impact your life. And it's not going to make you a better person if you don't actually walk in it. And exactly with this Torah, I mean, going through the Torah course has changed my life. And I have grown so much in just doing that. And what a shame it would be if I just listened to it and then went away and didn't change at all.
Yeah.
And so it is really important to actually be doing something and not just to be stagnant in your walk, and you will be blessed. And I just think it is an interesting example of the man who looks in the mirror and then after a while you just cannot remember your face. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a good parallel there too.
It
That's
is.
a great point. Isaac, do you have any thoughts?
Well, it's something you have to actually focus on to be doers.
Yeah.
And, it can be, some people can slip into that, even regular believers can slip into a place where they're only being hearers for a little bit. And it's definitely a battle because doing the work is a lot harder than actually hearing the word,
Mhm.
And of course, there's going to be some people that they can't do anything but only be able to do hearing. And, we all pray for them that they can get to the point where they can actually do the work as well and not just hear it.
I think that this can be a issue even with veteran believers, like you were saying, because it can be so easy to go from doing to over time, you think you have it figured out, but you're really just hearing. I think it says that they're deceiving your own selves but be you doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves.
Mm-hmm.
So you can feel like you're doing really well. You can feel really strong in your faith. And then when you're hit with a trial and it turns out you were just kind of hearing, you weren't really applying it to your life, then you're not really ready and you're kind of hit with the reality of where you're at. And that can be a pretty big shock if you're in this place where you're deceiving yourself and you're not really moving forward with what he wants, right? 'Cause-
Also, a big stumbling block for a lot of people.
yeah.
And I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but I don't remember how many countless times we saw someone, Yahweh told them to do something. They just heard it and didn't do anything about it. And then they're no longer with us physically or spiritually anymore. And it's been quite sad seeing all those people who had great potential, in the Lord.
Yeah.
The Lord gave them all this good things they were going to be doing, but they wanted to be the hearer instead of actually doing it. And
Yeah.
it's one thing that's always sad, just to see great potential, but they don't want to do it.
Mhm.
And of course, Yahweh's a gentleman. He'll let you have that freedom to say, I don't want to do it. So he's like, okay, you'll find someone else. Now, I think there are some people that he knows for sure they're going to be doing X,
Mhm.
But it's just one of those things that it's, again, like you're saying, even veterans can have this problem. We
Yeah.
can be fully with the Lord, not having any issues, but that one time we stumble, we just need to always keep that in mind,
Yeah.
because it is easy to deceive yourself, oh, I'm doing the work, when you're actually just hearing the work only.
I think that's just the last thing I want to stress before we close tonight, is just to say, it's important not to grow complacent or docile in our faith. It's something you've got to keep fighting for. You got to keep pushing forward. Otherwise, you'll get swept off your feet.
Mhm.
And I think the reality is that happens over and over again in most believers' lives. Which doesn't mean that they're not saved. It doesn't mean that they're not good people even. It's just something that's really difficult to avoid. But I think especially as we near these times of tribulation, it's more and more important to remain focused, because when we reach the point that is coming where the whole world is against believers, it's going to be more important than ever to be firm in our faith and in our relationship. So I guess that took a little bit more of a serious turn, but I just feel like it's something that's really important to stress.
Yeah.
Well, it's just kind of interesting how this whole entire verse, I should say chapter, just kind of loops into itself.
It does. It really does.
Kind of like how we were saying, the crowd can tempt you. Well, if you're a hearer, not a doer of the work, and you get deceived by your own, hearing that you think you're doing good, you can easily get yourself falling into what the masses are doing for temptation.
Yeah.
Or, even the beginning of it's just, everything is equaled out to if you end up doing the work, And that's one reason why you're right that this is a walk of wisdom. Every step of the way, you got to put wisdom into it, and it's not just something that's going to be an easy, road that's just going to go easy for you. It's going to be trials and tribulations in there, because the rest of the world is against Yahweh, and they're all either not hearers or hearers, and that's all they want to ever be. And they never want to actually do the walk.
Yeah. It's true. Well, I think that this has been a pretty lengthy conversation. I think it's been really good. But I want to give one final opportunity for any final thoughts. So, Judah, was there anything that you want to share tonight?
Yeah, just two things. And one of them is that he does have a sort of grace if we do miss the mark, but there is also moments of importance. Thinking about when he told them to go into the land and they didn't, and then they were wandering around in the wilderness for 40 years, and just that we need to be careful and dedicated, that there is a time for these things, and there is a moment, and if we miss that moment, it's not a good thing. So, but also just that there has been so much wisdom in just this chapter alone, and just that it is important to have a real connection with him and to be listening and to be seeking him and just continue to grow in your wisdom, be patient, and slowly lose the things of the flesh man and continue to walk in the things of the spirit man.
It's great.
So,
Thank you, Judah.
yeah.
Isaac, do you have any thoughts?
Well, for sure, this is a walk that you need to do every day, and it's something that's not going to be easy at first. It's not going to be even easy near the end. So it's just one thing that you just need to really work on every single day is putting the Lord first and trying to do the work as best you can, and just the road of temptation is really hard and is very wide. The road to wisdom is short and narrow, and there's all
Yeah.
these twists and turns up a mountains and hiking. You gotta. It's not an easy road,
Yeah.
but the road of chaos and doing whatever you want, lover of yourself, is wide and open, and you can cruise down that road at 100 miles an hour. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
Mhm.
but that one doesn't give you anything. Like, yeah, you can get some short-term gains but, it's at the end of the day, uh, it's gonna be nothing when you're done.
Yeah. Some good
And
thoughts there.
it's just sad to see how many people that go down it.
Mhm.
Like, you wish more people would love the Lord, but not everyone loves the Lord like we do. So it's one thing that it's nice to see that at least we have the remnant here that's together. And it'll be lovely to see all of them together, where
It
we can
will be.
actually be a bright light that the enemy can't snuff anymore. It's like we're up there, we're in front and center, and we're just
Mhm.
gonna show it the world like, hey, this is what Yahweh is.
It's going to be beautiful.
And it's gonna like you said, it's gonna be beautiful. It's just gonna be a bumpy road to get there.
Well, thank you, Isaac, and thank you, Judah. And we'll see you next time.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And I want to thank all of you for joining us tonight in our discussion of James chapter 1. And I think we'll probably be moving through the entire book because um, James has some really deep and valuable things to share with the 12 tribes, the remnant, us. So I just have one final thing, and that's a closing challenge for tonight's discussion. And that is find a time to honestly assess a weakness in your life and contemplate it with Yeshua. I think it is absolutely true that everybody has something in their life that just beats their butt. Um, some area that they either want to admit or not, that they just have trouble getting control over. But it's not impossible. And there's so much value in being aware of that to really avoid cultivating that weak area. I think there's so much to each person that we don't even recognize in ourselves. And these weaknesses, these desires, these trials, they can really steal that from us, and they can take away those other gifts that we have that we may not even know about. Um, so yeah, I guess I would just challenge you to find some time to do that this week. In closing now, I would like to remind folks of my father's newsletter, Zion News, and that's at eliyahubendavid.com. zion.substack.com, and some very interesting topics that kind of relates to where things are going in the world. And it might seem pretty big right now and far off, but it's coming quicker than any of us might think. And so if you're interested in what that might be and my father's perspective, newsletter is right there. The newsletter. If you need prayer or have any comments, anything like that, you can email us at help@tsiyon.org. And we love to hear your comments. We love to pray for anybody who comes in with prayer requests. We're always seeking for ways to be supportive of Yahweh's people. So feel free to send us an email there. If you're interested in more of the concepts and more in depth of some of these themes, you can visit tsiyon.org, and there's more information about us there, as well as a 24-hour radio station that features my father's programs and worship music. So it's a really great place if you want to get in the zone, to connect with God, to learn His truth, and to just relish in the goodness that is our Father. I would also like to mention, if you feel led to support this message, to support Zion Ministries, my father, the work that we're doing for the remnant, I would encourage you to visit paypal.me/TSIYON, where you can make a donation of any size that you want. And that is a blessing that comes right back onto you because everything that is donated comes right back into the message, into what we're doing, and into reaching the remnant. So that's very much appreciated. But if you don't feel led to do that, that's all right. There's other things that we really appreciate. Your prayers, your verbal support is always a blessing and an encouragement to us. And last but definitely not least, join us next week on June 14th at 8 p.m. Central Time for our next live stream. And that will be my dad, Eliyahu ben David. And he is continuing the Remnant Roundup series. Some really fascinating stuff. I'm sure he'll be talking about that in a moment. But if you're interested, that'll be on zion.net, tsiyon.net on June 14th. So thank you for being with us. I hope that you are blessed and edified by this message and that it provided you with some things to consider and think about. And without further ado, we'll go to the tabernacle for a word and some prayer.
That was awesome. Is not the book of James amazing? Talk about wisdom. It gets right to those simple things that have to do with how to live your life as a believer. And it's just so practical, so wise, and so helpful when we put it to use in our lives. It's just great, and you guys did a great job. You know what? I am getting filled up with so much stuff to share, I cannot sleep at night. That's really what's happening with me. So I'm waking up like at 4 a.m. and getting my head filled all day long, and I cannot keep up with all of this that I've got to share. So let me give you an idea of what's coming up. Now, we mentioned my newsletter. We've got a picture here. So this is what's happening with my newsletter, okay? Disclosure, the big movie's coming out. They're all talking about disclosure, UFOs, and all of that is in the news right now. And Yahweh is putting this on my mind like crazy. In the past, I did a pretty deep dive into this in On the Road to Zion, my radio program. It's quite a long time ago. But Yahweh is just bringing all this back to me. And so I started today with the first newsletter in a series. And it's kind of interesting because in the newsletter, I say this series is going to be one of 10. And now I'm already up to 13 topics I need to do. And there's more coming. So I don't know how many it's going to be. But you definitely want to dig into this. There's an audio file there, and you might find that better. Some of these getting longer. I mean, you know, I used to like to keep them like maybe 12 minutes or something, and this is like 20 minutes, but it's really worthwhile. And when you put all of this together, as this is revealed, I think you're going to find this so helpful with the events that are coming up with all of this subject, because all of this is going somewhere. So if you haven't had time to see that yet, you're going to want to see this and keep up with it. And then the other thing is Remnant Roundup. And I know Saul mentioned that. I appreciate that. But I just want to tell you, this one has some important information in it. We're talking about Daniel under the Persian rule and the things that happened with him. And he had some amazing revelation concerning the time of the end. And guess who's living then? Yeah, you are. So you won't want to miss this. And you know, I've taught on every chapter of Daniel except for 2 chapters. And one of them is chapter 12. And I'm going into that in depth in this one. And then the other one is chapter 9. And I'm going into that one next time. So we've got some exciting stuff coming up, believe me. So I'm excited about it. And Yahweh just has so much to share with us. He wants us to be ready for the things that are happening. So much is happening. So we want to be there for you and have that spiritual food at the right time so that you'll be ready. Well, let's pray together. Father, we thank you so much that you are such a source of wisdom, that we don't have to be those unstable people that James spoke of, the doubters that go this way and that way, and because of that, they can't receive anything. Father, we want to be solid in our faith. And we know to do that, we need to lean on you and your Son, Yeshua. We need to walk out the truth that we learn. We need to be doers and not hearers only. And that's what truly sets us free and helps us to fully realize the person that you have made each of us to be. So, Father, thank you for these wonderful reminders tonight in this great discussion that we've all just taken in. And I just pray, Father, for each of us that your Holy Spirit will just cause those important truths to permeate deep down into our spirit person, to be with us and to just affect our mind, Father, to make over our mind more and more in the image of your Son. Father, these are confusing times, times full of deceptions and distractions. But Father, we can be stable in you, stable in the faith, being confident about our future because we are confident in you. And we know that you have wonderful things in store for those that love you. So, Father, I want to pray for all of your remnant people tonight, that we might not be deceived, that we might not be distracted, but that we will intentionally focus on you and on your ways. And Father, choose to walk in your way each day and to put you first and to walk in your truth. This is really the big thing that we need to be focusing on. Father, thank you that you speak to us. Thank you that we have revelation and understanding from you, that we have wisdom. Because one of the things, Father, that you sent the angel to tell Daniel is that none of the wicked will understand, but only the wise will understand. Father, may we be among the wise. In Yeshua's name, amen. Now we have some worship together.
I love Yahweh, He heard my cry, He rescued me in my darkest hour. I love Yahweh, He heard my cry when I had lost all earthly power. He lifted me from the depths of the ocean, set my feet on solid ground, restored my soul from downward motion, and the hope that seemed lost now is found. I love Yahweh. I love Judgment came, the gavel fell, the righteous waned, and I was branded. They banished me, the bars came down, the wicked reigned, and I was stranded. But Yahweh turned and heard my voice as it grew weak, cracked, broken. Yahweh looked and read my mind when all my thoughts could not be spoken. Oh, He lifted me from the depths of the ocean and set my feet on solid ground, restored my soul from downward motion, and the hope that seemed lost now is found. His servant is on the rebound. I love Yahweh, and I love Yahweh, He heard my cry, He rescued me in my darkest hour. destruction. No more darkness hovering over your land. Anyone who tries to strike you will be stricken by God's mighty hand. Arise and shine, for your light has come. The presence of the Lord is upon you, O Zion. Nations will come to the city of the Holy One, where fragrant pine adorns the glory of Zion. Your walls will be walls of salvation. Your gates will be gates of praise. Peace and righteousness will govern your land for everlasting days. Arise and shine, for your light has come. The presence of the Lord is upon you, O Zion. Nations will come to the city of the Holy One, where fragrant pine adorns the glory of Zion. Arise and shine, for your light has come. The presence of the Lord is upon you, O Zion. Nations will come to the city of the Holy